is Giselle, and this is Vybechecktarot. I'm going to be doing a general energy reading. Keep in mind, tarot has no gender, it's just energy. Feel free to flip the messages and place energy where it fits. These messages are meant to liberate you and help you on your journey. Always prioritize your peace. If a situation disrupts it or raises any doubts, let it go. Let's go ahead and get started. We have Virgo energy. I had my life all planned out, focusing on my 5-year plan, but then I met you and everything changed. I didn't know how to rearrange my life for you. I should have learned to compromise. We have Deceit. I don't even know why I'm lying to myself about the way I feel about you. I may act as if I don't care, but deep down I know it's because I care too much, and that makes me very afraid. So there could be someone that is afraid to compromise how they pictured their life. This is somebody where their actions didn't align with their words possibly. They're living in a deceptive energy because they're stuck in their head. They're pretending that their feelings don't exist. This is somebody that's retreated from the connection. To the world, they're happy, they're fine, everything's fine, but outside of that, they're still processing. They feel a little bit lost. They're holding back. They're trying to rebuild themselves and figure out any uncertainty that they have. And it's weird because my camera's shaking. So they may feel like you came and just shook their world. It's an energy of feeling like they're unstable right now. They don't have the stability to offer or to give into this connection. We also have False Flame. You may think you found the one, but they wouldn't cause you so much stress if they were. Wake up and realize your connection is the real deal. They may be investing in other connections and trying to get you out of their head, really, but this is just causing more emotional distress. And it's causing you to feel like the feelings towards you were never real. It's also making them understand the connection you two have because it's making them very uncomfortable. The more they invest in other connections, they're understanding that it's all surface level. They're finding it very difficult to continue to pretend that they don't care. Even though they're dealing with multiple people, they miss your energy. And they're still very guarded with those other people, so they're not allowing that new love to come in. I'm an idiot. I spoke about our connection as if it was trivial. I didn't respect the secrecy of our connection. Instead of keeping things between me and you, I allowed others to interfere. So they may have allowed other people to interfere in your connection, whether that's friends, families, or third parties. Could possibly be work. It doesn't have to always be romantic. But they were unable to control their thoughts because they were misled by third parties or family, whatever the case may be. It created a false narrative. And that's what pulled your person away from you. With the Summer card, there is a date of August 6th through September 21st that could have some significance in it. However, it seems like with this card, the energy that I'm picking up is they really had this automatic, instant connection to you where they felt like you melted their heart. Because we do have an ice cream cone here, so it's really gauging into that energy where they felt like you just consumed them. You melted them in every form. They couldn't control themselves because it's a person that's very, very reserved and very controlled in their mannerism, in the way they speak, in the way they approach things. They're very analytical. And they could possibly be leaning towards, yes, reaching out to you again, or maybe not. They keep on going back. I keep on getting this uncertainty from them where they're not emotionally investing in this connection anymore. Again, my camera's shaking. And it hasn't done that in my other reading. So it just seems like they're digging deeper, but they just feel like they can't control themselves around you. They get stuck in their head. And it's this very immature reaction or immature communication where they're just not sure how to handle things. And so they just sit stuck in their feelings. I just can't. I'm feeling hopeless and helpless. There's nothing that I can do. Life is what it is, and we just have to accept our circumstances. So this person may feel like they're just stuck and have that negative self-talk. They feel like you two apart is the best thing that they can do right now. They believe that they have no control over things in the way that they happen, and they tend to think that they're just not ready for this. They continue to tell themselves that they're not able to provide to you. They're really stuck in their head, and they keep on telling themselves that they're not what you need. We have age difference. I know there's a huge age gap between us, and some may even object because of that. However, we are so similar in many ways regardless of our differences. So you and this person may have a huge age gap. Regardless of the age difference between you two, either they're older or you're older, there was an instant connection between you two. The maturity level was there on both sides. However, for whatever reason, there was a lot of insecurity on one end. It's almost like the masculine was completely obsessed with the feminine. That's what I'm getting here. And they felt like they were inexperienced in their communication, inexperienced in the way that they showed up for this feminine. And that's what discouraged them and caused a lot of insecurities. We have September 22nd through November 6th, the fall. This connection may have fell apart during that time because the leaves here is about growth and surrendering to change, is allowing things to fall apart so they can come back together. We have visionary. I finally see and understand everything I'm feeling. Hopefully for the future, I'm envisioning you back in my life. But I'm continuously working on myself. So this person, again, going into this fall energy, they are feeling hopeful. They're thinking positive about moving forward, and they want to come back into your life, and they envision a future with you. But right now, they're still working things out. So I feel a sense of patience if this is someone you want to keep in your life. But definitely, again, don't wait on someone. You continue going on with your life, because the law of attraction talks about when you want somebody, when you need somebody, when you crave somebody, and when you're desperately seeking their approval, validation, attention, you're actually pushing them further away. So the law of attraction says to work inward, to work on yourself, to focus on yourself and not on what you desire, because the more you focus on what you desire, the more it pushes it back, if that makes sense. We have twin flame. I recognize our connection was intense and it still burns my soul. It's a connection that can never be broken, but it's one that must be balanced in order to move forward together. In a twin flame journey, there's always a separation. There could be several separations, but in particular, twin flame journeys are very hard. They're not for everybody. You both mirror each other and you trigger one another's childhood wounds, and that pushes you to grow inward, to pull back, because it's so harsh sometimes, and some people don't have the strength to deal with it head on. They have to retreat. And sometimes there's a reunion after becoming stronger and awakened, and sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's just a split of the soul and you just always crave that person. But with this twin flame, I'm seeing kind of the good and the bad, the darkness and the light. Either the masculine has a very depressive energy and the feminine has a light, or it can be reversed. The feminine has a dark and the masculine has a light. But there's always that duality of energy where you two balance one another out. However, there is that push of that separation because it needs to be worked on individually. You both have to self-reflect, you both have to self-regulate, and you both have to grow and work on these issues of insecurities, of childhood wounds that are heightened in this connection, whether it's abandonment issues or whether it's insecurities or whether it's jealousy, whatever it may be. This connection pushes you at a heightened speed to work on yourself. You have courage. I don't care what it takes, how long it takes, who I upset. I'm going to return to you one way or another. This person believes that they're willing to confront the agony and pain and the uncertainty to be able to come back to you. However, they are preserving their energy right now because they have to go through that healing process alone. They have to withdraw and really go within. And it's not a reflection of they don't want you. It's not a reflection if they don't want to be with you. It's more so they need to be able to withdraw in order to deal with it privately. They're a very private person, and you both need to withdraw to deal with things. But at any rate, you both need to have the courage to want to have this to move forward if that's what you want. We also have third-party situation. I made you feel inadequate because I chose someone over you. I regret the pain I have caused you due to my selfishness and physical needs. You don't deserve being treated as an option. So again, this is just the energy. It could be third party, doesn't have to be romantic. It could be work, it could be family, it could be friends that got in the way, or it could be third party. Place the energy how it fits. This is a general reading. This person is really feeling like they ruined the relationship because they made you second guess it. And even so, with this pulling back energy where they completely pulled back, maybe they ghosted you, maybe they just left without a reason, maybe the relationship just abruptly just ended. I'm not really sure. Again, this is general, so place the energy where it fits. But they are really feeling like they want to fix this. They don't understand why they did what they did, but they want to fix it. We have the dark night of the soul. I'm fighting my demons and re-examining my actions. It is life-altering and also extremely painful. At times I fight against the changes, but I know it must happen for me to evolve. So again, this person is really trying to recover. They're really self-isolating and they're not really allowing anybody to help them. They're trying to identify how they could have changed the situation, how they allowed it to get this far, why they didn't address certain things, and why they communicated the way that they did. They may feel really overwhelmed, and I also see smoke here, so they may be smoking a lot, drinking a lot. Maybe they've let themselves go, but they're really in this energy where they have to really go inward, and they're trying, but they're finding it very difficult. They're going through an extremely painful period, but this is something that has to occur to go through that deep development. And these are things that happen way before the connection. Again, but when you meet your twin flame or your soulmate, they mirror you and they bring out things that highlight your behavior and make you address it. You have Pisces energy. I had an idealistic view of what a relationship should look like. You challenged that perspective and made me question my whole value system. I don't understand what you were trying to teach me, but I do now. A Pisces energy is very creative and very intuitive, right? They almost seem very mystical. However, they could be very extreme in their emotions, and that could be very hard for some type of Virgo energy. If you are someone that is not very expressive, someone that's very analytical, it could be a bit overwhelming for you. Again, it's just the energy. It doesn't have to be that particular sign. And so if you are an avoidant personality, you'll tend to escape from those extreme emotions that come in from this individual. So one of you could have had that very clear communication, very open, very upfront about how you feel, and constantly showing that support. And then one of you could have been that avoidant personality. It was very terrifying for you to show how you felt. You were very guarded. Even though you wanted to build and you felt the same way, you just didn't know how to reciprocate it in a healthy way. This may have manifested possibly from a childhood upbringing. That may have not been how your family communicated, how they showed love. Maybe your parents' marriage is an example that you're used to, where they're not very affectionate, they don't really communicate in a healthy way. So when this person came into your life, it was almost like, oh my God, it was very intense for you. And normalizing showing you cared it was hard. Even though your feelings were mutual, it almost seemed to this person that the effort wasn't reciprocated, if that makes sense. And you have opinions. I was foolish to believe the opinions of others. I should have trusted my heart more than what others thought about our connection. Please forgive me for doubting our connection. So again, we come back to this card right here, which is really just solidifying it. In this individual's life, normalizing relationships that were just dysfunctional was something familiar to them. So when someone healthy comes into your life and shows you support and love, it's very overwhelming and overbearing for them, because they're not used to receiving and showing and getting all this love. It's too intense for them. Even though they appreciate it, it's the negative self-talk. It's a negativity from their family, negativity of what they grew up with. It wasn't a healthy example, whether it stemmed from their family, their childhood, or past relationships. And this is why this person struggled so much with having that commitment. This person was very guarded because they didn't believe in a healthy connection. It was very hard for them to understand that this is normal, this support, this love, this communication, this discussing about any disagreements or shortcomings in the relationship. They took this as a personal direct insult, as them not being enough. Because maybe as a child, they were always told they weren't enough, or they weren't able to discuss their emotions. You know, I'm picking up someone that they're not able to articulate how they feel. So they would stay quiet often in communications or disagreements. They would just stay quiet. And in essence, you or them, if you were the one communicating, you felt like they didn't understand. You felt like they didn't care. But this person really does care. They just didn't know how to articulate and respond in a healthy way. So they decided to just, pull back and process. And sometimes they took longer to process, and it maybe was very frustrating during communications or during conversations, because you brought things up to this individual and they took it as they're not enough. They can't meet your needs. You're unhappy. They took it as your connection isn't as real as they thought. They just kept on going inward. Possibly as a child, they were told to keep their feelings inside. They were told not to share their feelings. Maybe they were taught to keep things in. And so when you came and you were very open about your feelings and you discussed these problems that you had or these shortcomings with them, they felt like, oh my God, I can't make this person happy. I'm not enough. I keep on screwing up. Because that's the way they always felt in their family. They felt like they were never enough. They felt like they can never be enough. They can never do enough because they always fell short. I'm going to get a card for that. Give me just one moment. We have Six of Cups. And we have the Ace of Swords. So in their life, they've always wanted something different than what they grew up with. What they grew up learning. What they grew up was normal. They've always wanted something different. They possibly had a childhood where they saw their parents argue a lot, or possibly not able to communicate in a healthy way. There wasn't a lot of affection or love shown around them, so this is something that they wanted. There was always communication that went around in circles. There was never any resolution. So when you came along, you're very forthcoming with your communication. It's almost like they had a retreat because they weren't sure how to deal with it. This is something new to them, and they weren't really sure how to address it. The Four of Wands. Yeah, they had to pull back. They didn't know how to act. They didn't know what to do because it's something new to them. They're still learning. They had to learn how to normalize showing that they cared, because that's all they've known. I pull some more cards. I want out. What do you see in me? Will this pain ever stop? With this energy, this person just really, it was a lot. It was too much for them. They had to step out of the connection. That's the only way they can see themselves out of this, because they couldn't understand what you saw in them if you've communicated any of their shortcomings, or if you communicated things you didn't like in the relationship or things they weren't doing. The only way they can see above that is getting out of it. Because again, it was too painful for them because they just felt like they were not enough. You have patience. I just want you to know how much I miss you and how much you mean to me. It's been difficult moving on without you, but I'm waiting on the perfect time to return. I'm trusting the process. With this patience energy, they are suffering in silence and they're holding out. They are moving forward in life and they're trying to get out of this energy, but they have hope that they can return in the future. And again, that is entirely up to you if you want to accept them. Some of you are just done with this and you're moving on. And that's okay. Sometimes, the best for you is letting go and moving on. Sometimes you understand that someone does deserve a second chance, but sometimes you're at a place where you're just not willing to do it again. Because remember, when someone comes back, you don't get the same person twice. They may be evolved, they may have grown, they may have gotten over this energy, but maybe the hurt is too much at this point. I don't know. I mean, this is a general reading. You have Aquarius energy. I acted like I didn't care, but I did. I just needed my time and space to think on my own. I didn't want to be tied down in a relationship because I wasn't ready to put in the work. Again, I mean, this is very in sync. They really just wanted to pull back because you applied this pressure where you highlighted areas that they were not meeting your standards, or possibly their actions weren't aligning with their words, or maybe they were struggling communicating and they weren't open about how they felt. Possibly their actions showed it, but their words didn't match, or maybe their words said it, but their actions didn't match. So there seems to be an imbalance here. And you may have communicated things that were not aligning in your relationship several times until they kind of just pulled out. They couldn't deal with it anymore. It was just too much between family life and work life and relationship life. It was just overbearing to them. They needed to pull away because they felt like they were hurting you. They felt like they were hurting themselves. They were hurting you, and they just felt overwhelmed. And so the best thing that they could do in their head was to pull away. I'm getting this energy where they did this for you, but that's not the way that it was taken, because if you were the one that was left, you felt like, okay, why is this relationship not enough to continue to work on? Why did this person just leave? Like, it made you question the entire relationship. It made you feel like, am I in Delulu land? Did our relationship ever exist? Like, how could someone feel this way one day and then just retreat the next? Just drop everything. It was just so all of a sudden that you question everything. Let me get some answers for you in regards to that. You have magical and powerful. I used to limit my goals and place myself in a box based on what I was told I was capable of. Since meeting you, my views have expanded, and I'm trying to dream big because of you. I know I deserve more. So this person really, you both changed each other's life. Maybe you've opened this person's eyes to manifestation, but they still have a lot of doubts, even though they feel like you're the most magical person in their life, and they see you as this amazing person that they didn't deserve for whatever reason. There is a lot of highlight of lack of self-love and self-value and worth. There had to be a huge separation, a quick, abrupt separation, because something in them triggered them so much where they had no other choice but to pull back and self-heal. This was necessary for their own personal well-being. They had to pull back. Sagittarius energy. I said a lot of things I shouldn't have said. I said them out of anger and fear. Sometimes I say things without even thinking. I'm sorry for hurting you with my words. This feels like your energy. You may have said some things that possibly were out of fear, maybe out of ego. It just gives me the energy that whatever conversation you had via text or via phone, things were said that were not entirely the truth. Things were said out of fear. Things were said out of ego. Because of this separation, there was a huge sense of rejection here. You almost felt like the rug was pulled from underneath you. Like, how did this happen? Like, everything was great and then boom, separation. Get a couple more cards. I understand where this energy is going. That's a lot of cards. We have Tower moment, just like what I was speaking about. I feel like my life is falling apart and being pulled apart. No matter what I try to build, things keep crumbling all around me. I wish you were here to help. You were the only thing solid in my life. With this Tower moment card, they felt like even though you're the most positive, most solid thing in their life, they felt like they had to let it go in efforts to salvage it. Changing things that you were requiring for them were a little too difficult for them at that time. Necessary for growth, but too difficult. You were pushing them to be better, but they couldn't handle it at that moment. They felt like they had to retreat. There was a lot of outer turmoil, as I said, work life, family life, home life. There was just a lot of things going on in their life. I feel like my life is falling apart. Whatever can go wrong has gone wrong. But the one thing that I felt was right was you. With this outer turmoil energy, regardless of what was going on in their life, you always felt like a safe place. But then when you communicated any kind of relationship hurdles, they took it as personal, like you didn't want to be with them, like they weren't enough. Whether it was any little arguments, they felt like their world was falling apart, like literally. And there was a lot of confusion, like, do you really love them, or are they just not good enough? We also have ego driven. My pride and my ego held me back and stopped me from being my true authentic self. I'm afraid he'll reject me because I feel like I'm not good enough. My self-confidence was such a facade. So this is really going into what I was saying. They feel like they're not good enough. And so because of that fear of rejection, they felt like they had to leave before being left. I'm working on my divine masculine side. I need to be more assertive, confident, and speak up for myself. I can no longer bow out of things in situations where I become fearful, but fight for what I love, and that's you. They have been into this introspective mind frame where they have really pulled back and isolated to really get that clarity and focus. They've really been disciplined on meeting whatever goal they've set, whether that be financially, whether that be letting go of addictions, letting go of friends that no longer serve them, places, person, things, strategizing on how to make their mind and body better. They want to take action, but again, they're still not ready. We have karmic partner. I know I'm settling if I'm not with you, but I feel I'm stuck because I'm afraid of change. I'm used to what I have, even if it's not enough for me. I'm working on feeling deserving of you. The energy continues to highlight how undeserving of you they feel. They just really feel, and you may have brought up things that just triggered them. And that may not have been your intent, but possibly your communication was a little bit too direct for them. And because you're someone they love so much and they value and respect so much, it may have hit harder than some stranger or their family member or a friend because it's you. Things coming from you just hurt them because of how they see you. And we have the self-love card, just like I said. They really need to focus on their self-love, and that's what they've been doing. I've been working on my self-worth, and I'm recognizing the issues that have been holding me back. I'm trying to heal myself by loving myself first. So the energy is learning how to forgive themselves and others, healing their inner child with shadow work, recognizing the triggers that affected them from moving forward, that are keeping them stuck. They understand that and they want to move forward. A big highlight on the self-love is that they have a really deep inner childhood wound that really isolated them from speaking up on how they feel. They always had to be reserved and keep their emotions bottled up because they didn't feel safe communicating because they were always shut down. They always felt like they weren't good enough. This stemmed from before you, but when you came along, it almost amplified it because of the situations you brought up, that they weren't meeting your needs, or they felt like they weren't meeting your needs, or you continue to express things that they needed to work on. And that again amplified that I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this person. You have Scorpio energy. I'm sorry for accusing you of the things you didn't even do. I'm so used to people hurting me. I assume you were just trying to hurt me too. I should have treated you better. This is an energy of someone that's used to being very cold and has a lot of trust issues. They're very intuitive and very resourceful and very loyal. However, they've dealt with a lot of manipulative people in their life, starting with their family and friends. So they had a lot of fear when it came to your relationship, that it was the same. You have free will. I want to be able to make my own decisions and not feel bounded to our connection, nor the opinions of others. I'm not ready to commit, and I'm unsure of what the future holds. This person may have had the decisions made for them. Although this person is very independent, every step that they take and every action is controlled by either family members, their parents, or their upbringing on how things should be. So even though they acknowledge that they have free will, it's something that's very hard for them to accept and allow. Family ties. You see, just like I was talking about, I miss the family we created or the family that could have been. I realize I made a mistake by walking away from my happiness. You are my life partner, my other half, my confidant. This person really wanted to build with you. They felt like they took you for granted. They understand that you helped them grow, and they really saw a future with you, possibly even children with you. You have insecurities. If you really knew who I was and how I felt, you may not love me anymore. I'm afraid you'll reject me if I show you who I really am. As I mentioned earlier, this person is very unsure where they are in life, and they wear a mask. They wear this mask because they're afraid of this rejection. They constantly cover up who they are because of fear of what others may think about them, because it stems from, again, an early childhood projection. They're afraid of making mistakes because of the reaction in their family life of how mistakes are looked at. So they're very critical, very self-critical. Breaking barriers. There are so many barriers stopping us from being together. I'm trying my best to become a better person so I can knock down the walls for you and eventually be with you. The energy that I'm picking up on this breaking barriers card is someone that's realizing the truth. And they're trying to push forward so they can move towards this connection, but there's still a lot of obstacles that they have not resolved. This is someone that's trying to go against the traditional expectations that their family puts on them. It's a very high pressure. There could also be cultural differences and maybe sexual orientation. Maybe this is something that their family frowns upon, whether it's cultural or sexual orientation differences. But this is something that's really highlighted where they're trying to go against that, trying to move forward. This is something that is really preventing them. They're really struggling on breaking those barriers. It highlights a lot of family situations. So there could be a possibility that their family doesn't accept this connection, or their family has a different idea of who their partner should be. It's really something that's pulling on their heartstrings and causing a lot of mental conflict for them, because they don't want to cause any disappointment to their family or to their parents or to their loved ones, but it's also causing a lot of heartbreak for them. We have soulmates. I feel you are my equal. You make me want to be a better person, not just for you, but also for myself. You challenge me to change and grow. Even though you both are deeply connected, there's still a lot of insecurities and barriers that need to be broken. I'm seeking your forgiveness even if I can't utter the words. I'm trying to also forgive myself for treating you unfairly, but I'm hoping I can quiet my guilt. So they're letting go of any emotional burdens and they're healing themselves. They're acknowledging your feelings and they're acknowledging their feelings as well. They're trying to come to a space where they not only can forgive themselves, but they also have the courage to come up to you and ask for your forgiveness. You have unawakened. I'm fearful of letting go with what I have and what I know. What you're asking of me is impossible and makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. We're going back to this energy where they fear they're losing their old life, or they fear they're going against their traditional life, or what they consider or their family considers a traditional. So right now they're physically blocking and ignoring this connection. I'm going to get some cards just to confirm that. Fake. I've been pretending to be someone I'm not my entire life. I'm so sick and tired of this mask. Spying. I'm still checking up on you. I'm watching you from afar. I miss you. I love you. Can we please start over? Make amends. I want to make things right between us. Karma. I'm finally facing the consequences of my careless actions. Unhealthy. I feel so toxic. I can't give you what you need. See, the energy continues to repeat itself. They understand the connection, but they also feel like they can't give you what you need. They feel like they're not enough. Boundaries. I'm learning to stand up and say no to everything that is not for my highest good. So they're learning to break those barriers, whether that be against friends, family, places, things that no longer serve them. They're learning to kind of go over those hurdles and do what makes them happy. Working. I'm just really busy at work and I need to focus on this first. So as I mentioned before, they're really isolating and just focusing on work. They're trying to figure out their thoughts. They're trying to figure out their family situation. They're trying to figure out what is their next move. Do they want to come back? Can they come back? Will you forgive them? They're really struggling on forgiving themselves right now. Regretful. I have made so many mistakes in the past. The biggest one was giving up on us. They're really trying to figure out, are you better off without them? Or can they really make you happy? Because again, with this insecurities coming up several times, they don't know if they can ever make you fully happy. They almost feel like they're not enough. And although they're working on themselves, they feel like possibly maybe it's better that they go with someone that their family has chosen. Or maybe traditionally pick someone that their family accepts. They're still very uncertain on which direction to go. They're still stuck in their head. Hopeful. I'm still hoping that one day we can be together. So although they have regrets, although they feel like they shouldn't have walked away, they still have hope that you two can come back together. However, they're not doing anything to show you that they want to come back. They've just retreated and they haven't really said anything. They've been very silent. They haven't communicated. You haven't heard from them. So it's a very confusing thing for you, because this energy continues to come up on every reading that I do, because this is the collective energy. Like the energy seems to pick up like where they're moving forward and making progress, but then they go back and revert and get stuck again. It's like a stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. They move a little bit forward, they get out of their head, they feel like they have the courage, they want to reach out, and then boom, they go back to being in hermit mode, isolating again, pulling back. It's the most bizarre energy. Like, they want to come forward, but they don't have the courage to. They don't feel deserving enough. Take a breath. Let me get you a spirit animal just to close out the reading. Canary spirit, sing your own song. Eagle spirit, spirit has your back. Stag spirit, take the lead. One more? Yep, two more. Okay. Freedom is yours. Sometimes life sings. And grasshopper spirit, take a leap of faith. And closing on that note, Spirit's really asking you to take the lead and just focus on yourself. Sing your own song. Don't worry about what's going on with the other person. And get out of your head. Spirit is recognizing the pain that this situation has caused. And they want you to take a leap of faith, focusing on yourself, working on yourself, and taking your energy back is what's going to allow you to free your mind and your spirit. Although I see a lot of sadness here, you create what you want. Your thoughts create it. As cliche as that sounds, you are the sole creator of your life. Whatever you think about, you bring about. So create a better life for yourself. Get out of this stuck energy. What you do on a daily basis is going to create the person you want to become. They really pointed me back to this canary spirit. Is if you're feeling caged up, it is all self-inflicted. You're able to fly free. As free as you want to be, but you need to get out of your own way. You're stuck in this energy of not being able to let go. You're afraid of what's coming next, and Spirit's asking you to let go and just fly. Sing your own tune. Let this person be. Let them go. Take the lead on letting them go. I know they have a grip on your energy because you guys are so connected. But if you just focus inward and work on yourself, I promise you, the universe will give you what you want. Okay, closing on that note, may your path glow and the energy guide you towards clarity and fulfillment. Until next time, stay radiant.